Vibration, open up.
我在搜寻哪点？哪点？我在哪点？
Kamera, rolling.
Welcome to the 5th edition of 100% Manusia Film Festival. I'm Farid Ardian and I will be your host today.
Usia kelima kami merupakan usia yang muda, tetapi untuk sebuah festival film, 5 tahun merupakan titik pencapaian yang signifikan. Karena itu, kami ingin menandainya dengan tema journey atau perjalanan.
Halo, saya Lika Liku Laki, saya seorang penulis naskah dan sutradara film Indonesia. Saya berharap dengan ditayangkannya film-film ini, terciptalah conversation di publik mengenai hal-hal yang sangat esensial ini dan semoga bisa menciptakan perubahan.
Hello and good evening everyone and our respective panelists, Hao Zhou, Khozy Rizal, and Alegra Wolter. Welcome to 100% webinar and 5 films for freedom, crazy little thing called love. I am Sophia Hage. I'm a medical doctor and co-founder of Lentera Sintas Indonesia, and I will be your moderator for this evening. So this will be a lighthearted conversation, and before we start this webinar, please allow me to explain the technical aspects of it. For the panelists, please turn off your camera and microphone when you are not speaking. And I will kindly remind you if your camera and microphone are still off. And 100% webinar and 5 films for freedom, crazy little thing called love is a collaboration by 100% Manusia Film Festival and British Council Indonesia, supported by BFI Flair and Bhinneka Cipta Sutradara. This event will be recorded and will be posted on YouTube at a later date. Tonight's 100% webinar session will be in English. For panelists whom would like to listen to this webinar in Bahasa Indonesia, please activate the interpretation option on your screen and choose the language. And 80% of the spoken voice can be heard in Bahasa Indonesia. We also provide the option for Indonesian Sign Language interpreter for those who need it to comfortably participate in this webinar. For attendees, you can also listen to the webinar in Bahasa Indonesia by activating the interpretation option on your screen. Please feel free to leave a comment or question in the chat box and or question box. Of course, please be respectful towards other people in the webinar. And if you feel uncomfortable at any point in the webinar, you can choose to leave the event. And 5 films for freedom can still be watched for free until Sunday, March 27, 2022. On how to watch, please check our social media. We would like to give a very big thank you to our partners, British Council and BFI Flair, for their contribution on making this talk happen this evening. Okay, now a representative from the British Council Indonesia, Camelia Haraha, will say a few words before we begin the talk. Camelia, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sophia. Hello, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are. It's really great to see you all today and hope everyone is doing well. My name is Camelia and I'm from British Council in Indonesia. Thank you so much to 100% Manusia for facilitating this event. A little bit about British Council. We are an international organization from the UK and we work across the sectors of English language, education, and the arts. Through our arts work, we try to build and make connections between the UK arts sector, so including individuals, cultural professionals, and arts organizations, with those in Indonesia and across the world. We also work across all creative subsectors, including the film and animation industry. So each year, the British Council, in partnership with the British Film Institute, or BFI, makes 5 queer-themed short films available for the whole world to watch online for free for the duration of the BFI Flair Film Festival. Running since 2015, this program has seen more than 15 million people viewing one of the films in more than 200 countries and principalities, including many parts of the world where these issues are perhaps criminalized and in some cases punishable. This year, the films are live from the 16th to the 27th of March, 2022, and British Council is proud to collaborate again with 100% Manusia to spread this important message as wide as possible. We encourage people to watch the films in solidarity with gender minorities and queer communities in places where freedom and equal rights are limited. We ask audiences to share the films using the hashtag 5filmsforfreedom in recognition of the fact that love is a human right. BC is also proud that for the first time, an Indonesian film called Lika Liku Laki, or Makassar is a city for football fans, by Khozy Rizal, gets to be officially selected in the BFI Flair. And I see that Mas Khozy is joining with us today, so it will be a great opportunity to hear about your experience attending the festival this year. British Council is also excited to share that in June this year, the UK will be hosting Safe to Be Me, which is the first ever Global Gender Minority Conference in London on the 29th of June till the 1st of July 2022, which coincides with the 50th anniversary of the first official London Pride March. British Council will continue to engage with our local partners in Indonesia to support this important issue as part of our effort to maximize cultural responses to global challenges, or using the transformative power of the arts to respond to global issues like diversity and inclusion. Once again, I'm so excited. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation and hope everyone gets a chance to watch all of the 5 films before it ends this weekend. Thank you so much, and I'll hand it back over to Sophia.
Thank you, Camelia. Next, Rain Chuacha, Festival Director of 100% Manusia Film Festival, will also say a few words before we start our discussion. Rain, the screen is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sophia. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are very happy for you to be here with us tonight for this discussion about love. Love may mean many different things to...
Kak, sorry, device-nya.
Yeah, Rain, yes. Rain, the audio is having some feedback difficulties. Maybe we can try to connect once again. You're on mute.
Okay.
I think this is better.
All right. Sorry, everyone. Okay, I will start. Thank you, everyone. Sorry about that. Thank you, so. Okay. Yeah, so hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are really happy for you to be here and, with us for this discussion about love. Love may mean different things to different people, but I think love is a universal feeling of warmth, and everyone should have the right to express this feeling and be with whomever they love. 100% Manusia Film Festival is happy to collaborate with British Council and the 5 Films for Freedom campaign, because we believe that love is a human right. And we'd like to amplify this with our platform so it can be heard louder for the people at the back. We also believe in having dialogues, and to do so, one of the, this is why we're doing this webinar tonight. And we hope that tonight's webinar can add to the conversation. Thank you to British Council and BFI Flair for making the campaign. And thank you also to Hao, Khozy, Allegra, and Sophia for taking time to be with us tonight. And of course, thank you to all of our viewers. And have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray. Before we move on to the discussion, because one of our speakers will have to leave early today, so let's take a picture first to make sure that everyone is documented very well. I think one of the committee will help me in taking a picture, correct? Okay, so I'll count down for the pictures, everyone. 1, be camera ready. 1, 2, 3.
Wait. Wait.
Oh, let's do it one
Okay.
more time. Okay.
Okay,
Let's do it one more time.
we'll start again. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Iya. Di ini. Okay, one. Okay.
Okay, are we good? Okay.
Panelists only.
Panelists only.
Yeah, speaker and the panelists only. Please. Ya, speakers only. Untuk yang lain, tolong tutup dulu. Kita sekali lagi ya. Oke, 1. Ini bentar. Sorry, speaker.
So
Okay.
maybe for this photo, and we have Hao Zhou, Quasi, Allegra, Sophia,
Oh, we're done?
Yeah.
Oh, one more, please.
One more, okay.
Ini tuh. Oh, cuma ini doang. Okay, wait.
Technicalities.
Yeah. Oke, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Do you have a good one?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're done. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so allow me to introduce our wonderful speakers for this evening. First, we have Hao Zhou. Hao Zhou is a filmmaker and photographer from Nanchuan, China. Zhou's films often center on marginalized people resisting structural oppression. In 2014, Zhou wrote, directed, and produced his first feature, The Night, about young queer sex workers in China. The film won top prizes at Geneva Independent, Nara, China Independent, and others. And in 2021, Zhou won a grant from Art with Impact, creating Frozen Out, which won Student Academy Award Gold Medal on Short Film. Hi, Hao Zhou, are you with us?
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi. And next we have Khozy Rizal, a film director, a filmmaker based in the city of Makassar, Indonesia. In 2021, Khozy made a short film entitled Lika Liku Laki, or Makassar is a city for football fans. The film was selected at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival and won the jury prize at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival on Asia and Best Fiction Short at Unikino Film Week. Hi, Khozy.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Sophia.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, we have Alegra Wolter, a medical doctor. Allegra is an insightful medical doctor that focuses on mental and sexual health, as well as empowering sexual and gender minorities in Indonesia. Being the first openly transgender woman working in the country's medical system, Allegra's experiences in medicine, research, community work, and health technology have brought versatility in her personality approach. Hi, Allegra.
Hello. Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you.
Good evening. Good to see you today. Okay, before we start talking about love, we would like to give a hearty congratulations to Hao Zhou, whose film Frozen Out is selected in the lineup for this year's 5 Films for Freedom. And also to Khozy Rizal, who was invited by the British Council to join the celebrations of this year's BFI Flair, and also for the recognition for his short film, Makassar is a City for Football Fans. The film was nominated, as mentioned before, as Best Short Film by the Indonesian Film Festival 2021 and received the jury prize at the Sundance Film Festival Asia 2021. Congratulations, you two.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a follow-up question to that. Congratulations. So to Hao and Khozy, can you tell us a little bit about your experience in BFI Flair, which is Europe's biggest queer film festival this year? Maybe Hao Zhou can go first.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it was really sad or unfortunate that I couldn't go there. But my producer of the film went there. But he told me BFI Flyer is really good, really welcoming, nice queer film festival that at the center of London, apparently. And the support and select so many different kinds of films, especially the films that from the countries that we normally will not often see queer films that coming from, like Indonesia or China. So I think that's very important to support the queer filmmakers, queer people from those areas. Yeah, I also going to say they're very nice film festival, and the super excited to invite Frozen Out, and yeah.
Thank you, so. And as I understand, you can only join us for an hour, right? So please let us know whenever you need to leave, so I can announce it to the other people. Okay, next, Khozy, how did you feel being part of the festival?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to British Council to support our trip to BFI Flair. We are so amazed that the film selected to the festival, and it's way more amazing because we're able to visit the festival in person. It was amazing, and actually in there I participated not only for the screening actually. So I also participated in a panel discussion about sports queer film. So it's a film about sport that strongly connected with sport and how they strongly connected with the homophobia and also the toxic masculinity, you know, and it was really amazing, and we're so grateful that we can participate in this festival and share each other's story of relating to sexual orientation theme and genders, and etc.
As a sports medicine doctor myself, I can totally understand and relate to toxic masculinity in the sports world. So I understand what you're talking about. To follow up with that, to Khozy, as a first-time filmmaker, how do you feel about your work being recognized, especially when it showcases themes like queer, at a theme which is not very widely supported in formal institutes here in Indonesia?
Yeah, actually, the objective of the film is that I just want to tell my my own experience living as a man in my hometown city, Makassar, you know, and because the city itself, it's getting more religious, and the how do I say, the value of the patriarchy is getting stronger than before. It's strange, you know, and that's why I felt like I was an outcast, because I don't really like football, and football is always be something huge in my city. It always strongly connected with men, you know, and I don't like that. I don't like the football thing, and I grew up. People call me names, you know. People call me faggots, and just simply because I don't love football, you know, it's crazy. So I have to tell the story that if you don't have to like certain things just to be a man, you know, like you can always like love musicals, for example, you know, that always strongly connected with gay stuff or feminine stuff. You can still be a man, and I just want to um, like reconstruct the notion of the notion of the masculinity, you know, and that's why I made the film. I wrote the script, and that is the only objective, you know. But then, strangely, it's pretty relatable not only to homosexuals, you know, to heterosexual as well, and that's why maybe the film can be accepted by many audiences, you know. I mean, the story of the story about fitting in, and yeah, it's really universal thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, because fitting in is not only a queer problem, it's everybody's problem, right? Yes. Everybody wants to fit in, everybody wants to feel like they belong to the community. So I guess that's why it struck a chord in everybody's heart. Totally agree. So as a Chinese filmmaker, now you're based in the US, correct? So how do you feel, how significant is the location change for you, especially when you're telling stories about the queer experience coming from China?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question, because I can talk it, you know, from my recent personal experience. When I you know, moved to the US, and I become a graduate student, and then I'm also a filmmaker, so I started to look for support, not just fundings, but also mentorship or organizational support from especially queer NGOs, and I luckily found out that there are a lot of support in the United States, but also in Canada. A lot of wonderful organizations, NGOs, that they want to support artists, filmmakers, to make works about queer people, immigrants, or to make works about people of color story. So I think, compared to where I came from, I think this is a huge help and a huge support for my filmmaking process because I couldn't get that much of like, you know, funding support, mentorship support, organizational support from my own country. But luckily I get much more support, you know, in the US. So my experience has been very positive. That many organizations that in the US, they try to lift up the voices of the POC people, the queer people, and immigrants there. So that was my experience, and basically.
It's very interesting to see that, to hear from your experience that more doors apparently open for you when the location will happen. To dive a little bit to your film, can you tell us about your film Frozen Out, how maybe the story behind the movie, and which is now screened globally during the Festival for Freedom?
Yeah, so this film, when I started this film project, I originally just want to make a really like low profile, intimate film letter to my little sister. Because of COVID, I hadn't been able to see her for like a couple of years. So I really miss her and my family in China. Then I also myself I was experiencing a lot of new things in the States, in Iowa. You know, in Iowa, there's a slow season in the winter, basically for 4 months. That's completely new compared to where I come from. You know, I come from a subtropical area in China, so there's no winter essentially. So anyway, I want to show my family, my sister, what I have seen for the past few years, and then also to write a really simple letter to them. So I started with that, and then I made a really simple draft of this project. And then I saw a funding opportunity from Art with Impact that they want to support immigrant filmmakers who want to make films that relate to mental health issues. So I thought like that would be a really interesting or wonderful opportunity for me. So I used that draft or that project, that proposal to apply for the funding, and then I got the funding, and then I started to actually doing like a proper filming, proper shooting during the winter in Iowa. And then I combined the footage that I shoot before I come to the US, and then I edited the footage from the US and China together to sort of like create a story that shows 2 different locations and then 2 different feelings and identities too, and also to show the change of the societies, and to show my own immigrant process, I guess. Not in a way like, you know, in doing all this paperwork for immigrant, but like to immigrate into a foreign land. So that was essentially the project, and then the story, and then I made it into a 5-minute short film length. And yeah.
I have to say, as somebody who has seen the short film, I find the contrast really interesting, going from the snow and the white image of almost white screen, full white screen, to quite a tropical landscape. So yeah, I find it really interesting. Thank you for that. Okay, so to both Cho and Khozy, why is telling stories about the queer experience and queer love is important to you, that it's significant enough for you to actually make a movie about? Khozy, can you go first?
Actually, sorry to take your time, Khozy, but I need to leave very soon. I'm wondering if
Okay, it's okay. You can go first, though.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, please.
It is completely fine.
No, I mean, I just thought like I would leave like around like 12 minutes. So
Okay.
I just want to have a little bit
Okay,
more
so you
time
can
with the
answer this
audience.
question. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put a mental note on 12 minutes from now, but you can answer this first.
Yeah. No, sorry. I think it's very important because representation is very important. Like right now, 99% of the film that has been produced is all about hetero relationship or story about straight people. But that's not the whole, that's not the real reflection of the reality, I think. Why do we always watch the stories from them? And the they are essentially taking the resources, a lot of resources from queer people, from queer filmmakers to we cannot like, you know, speak up, we cannot make our own voice, like, you know, through mainstream media, through films, through cinema. And that's why I think it's important, because that's the human history from the ancient times until now, that, you know, all the arts and films and everything is centered on straight people's story. But again, that's not the whole history of humanity. So where are the queer stories? And if we don't do that now, then in the future, the history from now to the future, it will still be full of the, you know, stereotypical heteronormative stories about straight couples, you know, about their, you know, issues about having babies, or, you know, whatever issues that they have. So for that reason, I think it's really important. You know, we don't want the history become that, you know, we have been eliminated from the history. Yeah, that's what I want to say. I'm really thrilled to hear Khozy's answer to.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Quasi, why is it important to you? Why is the queer experience important to you?
Okay. Maybe because, first of all, I think that the voices of LGBT in films, especially in Indonesia, are rarely captured. You know, we rarely see Indonesian gay films. That is one of my concern, actually. That's why I make the film, you know. And the other thing is that I little bit frustrated to see gay films. I mean, I think that they are lack of body representations, you know, like most of them are, you know, like protagonists, like they have six packs and all and stuff like that. I'm so frustrated because I mean, not all gays have six packs and stuff like that. So I choose that the protagonist is a plus size man, you know, yeah, you know, and because I think that is important, because I want to make people that gay people, you know, that every any shades, you know, any shapes of bodies, that you have the story, you know, your story or matter, you know. That's exactly one of the things that why I make this film, and why it's important for me to tell the story, to make people feel represented.
Yeah, thank you, Khozy. Again, I, as a viewer, because I've seen your movie as well, I find it very interesting that the first scene that we see is the plus size guy who seems to be very conflicted and not somebody that you would think like what the society thinks attractive. So kudos on highlighting that. I think that's a very important message to show out there. So now, I'm just looking at the clock, and I know you need to leave soon. So is there anything that you would like to say to the audience, and what you think is very important to say in this society in terms of queer experience, that you want to say before you leave anytime soon?
Yeah, thank you, Sophia. I think I want to follow up what on what Kenzie was saying, the representation among queer community is also very important because it is absolutely right that gay peoples are not the mainstream representation, you know, from the mainstream media, that we all have a high paid job, we live in a fancy apartments, and we have a really well built bodies, and you know, that's just an illusion, and that's well, that's maybe really small percent of the, you know, queer community, but that's not all. So I think it's very important. I completely agree with you, Kenzie, that we need to make all different kinds of like representations of queer people. They are, you know, if we don't do that, basically we're just falling into the how to say, the stereotypical traditional heteronormative type, you know, of storytelling. Actually, currently there's a critique on, you know, even homonormative, which means that gay people that kind of creating the same sort of like how illusions of straight people's like life now, like, you know, again, queer people are high pay, they have high salary, and then they will adopt baby, and the lives are wonderful. So that's also an issue, I think. You know, that's not the whole story of the queer community. There are a lot of people are still struggling, not just with their jobs, but like with their gender identities and with their sexualities and with everything that they are experiencing. So I think this is also very important to show the diversity within the queer community, that we have all different kinds of people, and we are a community that we're welcoming everyone, every kind of body shape, every kind of everything that you want to show that is truthful to yourself. Because if we don't do that, it's just will cause more harm to our community, because then they, for example, the young people, I guess, the younger generation from the queer community will think that, you know, the only way to become successful, to become a successful gay man is to have a lawyer job, you know, live in a fancy apartment. And well, again, you are just falling into the stereotypical normal heteronormative path. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to pursue. What I'm saying is that there are different ways to pursue your life, and I hope our community, our queer community, are not toxic, poisoned by the, you know, so-called traditional values, because we are representing how do you say, innovative, creative values that they don't value, like the straight people don't, like, you know, they may not value. I'm not saying they won't, but so yeah, that's just what I want to add to the I guess to the conversation.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And please feel free to leave the forum whenever you need to. I'll continue the conversation and the discussion. And again, thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it's also my honor to be here and talk to the audience. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye, Joe. Okay, to continue the conversation. So love is supposedly a universal feeling, right? And yet the love experienced by the queer community sometimes seems to be difficult to understand by many people outside of the queer community. And some even say that it is different, that the concept of love being understood by the heteronormative society versus what the queer community feel. And I would like to push back on that. And I would like to ask you both, what is your definition of love, and how would you describe it? Allegra, you want to go first?
Yes, this is a unique question because we hear love, love, love. I love you every day, but sometimes some people have different meanings of it, and also some has different opinions as well. I agree with what Rain said earlier in the introduction that love can mean different things to each people, each individuals. For certain individuals, it could mean loving your partner, your spouse. For others, it could be more like loving your children, loving your pets. So there is universal love. But according to the Oxford Dictionary, love encompasses a range of strong and positive emotional. Yes, straight to the Bible. It's a range of strong and positive emotional and mental states, from the most sublime virtue or good habit to the deepest interpersonal affection to the simplest pleasure. So that's already like encompassing a unique perspective of love, that it's more like the warm and also have a strong positive connection as well. And I think comparing the cisgender heteronormative love with the queer love, and also what's happening with the gender and sexual minorities, I think in general, love is a human experience. It could mean different to a lot of people, but at the same time, it is a universal thing. So I don't see that much of difference because according to the American Psychiatric Association as well, they define sexual orientation as an attraction that is enduring in the emotional state, romantic and also sexual state. And I think in the media, especially the medias who are not that progressive, sometimes they portray queer love as something that is obsessive and almost like you're about to destroy each other because you can get love from other people, for example. Like those negative representations of love, I think it's quite harmful because we see a lot of LGBTQIA plus people in general, people who have different sexual orientation than the general population, and also different gender identity and expression. They can have healthy relationships as well with their partners, and relationship that is equal, because that's the most important thing, something that is equal and also reciprocated one to another. I think that's the definition of love.
Yeah, so at the same time, love is universal, but it's also very personal. So in that aspect, Quasi, what is love to you?
Yeah, I think it's quite a loaded question, but I'm gonna answer anyway. Yeah, I mean, it could be like the tiniest things that we could get daily, you know, like for me, for example, these tiny little things like how do we say it in English, like little embrace by our friends, you know, or like a hug, you know, little hug for our friends when we like run into each other, you know. That is a love for me. And I don't know, it's kind of something that I rarely get in my city, you know, but in Jakarta I get that a lot, but in my city it's something unusual. So somehow I felt not so loved in my city because it's something that is maybe strange for them. Yeah, I mean, these tiny things, I think I consider it as love, you know. Yeah, there's so
Thank
many
you for
levels.
answering.
Yeah.
And okay, so I will go deeper on this issue. And if the question is too personal or you feel not comfortable in answering, please feel free to skip the question. Okay. Now, to follow up on your question, Khozy, that Makassar is not loving. Is it something that is related to culture? Do you think that the Makassar culture and Jakarta culture is different, or is it something else?
yeah, I think it has strongly connected with the culture, and also that what I said before, that the city is like religiously shifts, like and because of that, this heteronormative values is getting stronger as well. Like even like if you walk in a public spaces, just two of you with your friends, and you happen to be like same sex, people will like consider you as gay, and gay, that means, yeah, you will get discriminated and like considered as an outcast, something like that. That's why we couldn't do like those tiny things that I mentioned before, you know
All
yeah,
those romantic things, yeah.
yeah. Not necessarily romantic, I mean, like in Jakarta, I can like freely hug my friends in a mall, and that would be okay. But in my city, that would be like, that's gay, that's why. I mean, it's not.
That's also in line
A
with
question.
Yeah.
Does it relate to you being like physically male? Like, is it because people look at males as being, well, you're supposed to be tough. Like males are supposed to be tough.
Yes, exactly.
And those touchy expression belongs to the female gender.
Yeah,
And so
yes.
in terms of if expression of love, then does that mean that's why you see as Makassar not really showing love,
Yeah.
as in like physical love?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, because they are, because of those values, people are like stereotyping, like if you do this, that is a girl stuff, like hugging
Yeah.
friends in public, and that means that's equal gay if men doing it, so it's, that's why people like really hard to like do this little gesture to each other. Yeah.
If I can add a few things, I think it is the
please, Allegra.
interconnection between toxic masculinity and also
Yeah.
patriarchal values, and also the cis heteronormative standards of expressing yourself. Because I think in a lot of ways our culture kind of suppress how we express emotions, including hugging, or even if it's your friend, sometimes people think that that's a gay thing to hug your fellow mates. But in different cultures, for example, like somewhere Western cultures, they hug whether it's male, female, or whatever. So that's how I think that's part of the patriarchal toxic masculinity culture as well, in way it repress our emotions. And also it is the intersection with our expression as well. If people don't see a tough masculine man, sometimes they consider, oh, that's a gay man. But I mean, like, that's not always the case, right? Like it's not even related between expression and also orientation.
And I want to add something else.
Please.
Like even like it is really scary for me, like doing this tiniest stuff, like say thank you to my fellow male friends, thank you, or like you're welcome and stuff like that. It's weird for them, like ew. It's something ew for them, to do that. Just the tiniest thing like that, it's weird for them. That's crazy.
It's sad, but I get it. It's sad.
I mean,
but
it's simple. It's a simple manner,
Yes, and it's so the conclusion of this discussion, the first part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Would you both agree that gender stereotype has a lot of connections to how we interpret love or how we express love? Does gender stereotype has anything to do with that? What do you think? Who wants to go first? Allegra? Khozy?
Allegra first.
Allegra first.
Yes, definitely. I think there are a lot of intersections in our life regarding our background. our race, our religion, our culture, our socioeconomic status, like what Zhao explained before, and also our sexual orientation, gender identity, and also expression. And I think at the end of the day, everyone should have the right to express themselves freely, as long as not infiltrating other people's personal boundaries, and we do that with out of respect. I think it should be okay to hug someone and not be punished for it.
And it should be okay to say thank you to someone. That actually being
Yes.
okay.
That can also come from discrimination as well. If that person is a bully, then no matter what we do, no matter how nice we try to behave, it will come up as something that's not good for them.
Yeah. Khozy, do you want to add something before I move on to the next question?
Sorry, what is the question again? I forgot.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. So there's a gender stereotype has a strong connection to how we express love and how we interpret love. So how we give and accept love. What do you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. It has strongly connected with that, with the gender roles. You know, I grew up my father is really how do I say it, a patriarchal father. You know, we were told to not cry and like showing our vulnerable values. You know, and that's why that explains that why men like cannot do this little gestures like say sorry or say thank you.
Yeah.
Say I love you. It's yeah, because of that, because of the gender roles. So that's why men, especially in my city, cannot express themselves freely, you know, because you'll get judged. Yes.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, then, how do you express love? Considering that there is this gender stereotype in giving and accepting love, and how do you handle being in love? How do you express that love if you fall in love? Allegra, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think this was related to the. So we had lot of the list of questions beforehand, related to the love language as well. How we express love could be. Would that be okay if I bring that up?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Because in general, love language is a theory that was first launched in a book by Gary Chapman. He's a renowned marriage counselor, and he noticed during his career that there are these certain love languages that he realized will really help people in discovering what and how their partners would like to be loved. So that's a very unique and important information, I think, in any long-term or even short-term relationship that you want to build with someone. So there are 5. The first one is the words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, and also physical touch. And I think everyone generally has their own rankings in terms of how they want to be loved. For example, for me, I like giving and receiving gifts because that's how I was brought up. When I was a kid, I was technically spoiled with gifts of, dolls, cars, and other toys, and I enjoyed that. That's for example. And I think love expression could be different to a lot of people, but it is important to know your partner's or your friend's love language in order to really give what they really need the most. For example, if I have a friend that his number 1 love language is words of affirmation, I'll tell him that he's amazing and supporting him along the way with his educational process and so forth. I'm not sure if he's watching this tonight, but I sent him the link.
So correct me if I'm wrong again. So the 5 love language is 1, physical touch, 2 quality time,
Yes.
3 words of affirmation, and then what are the other 2?
Gifts and also acts
Gifts,
of service.
acts of service.
Acts of
Okay,
service.
so Khozy, mental note, love language.
My love
But-
language.
Yes,
In
what is
yeah,
your love language?
in context where I live, because yeah, I mentioned that I cannot really like showing like verbally, like explicitly, express the love. You know, my way is that towards my friend, I sometimes like I do this kind of like compliments. For example, when my male friends like just got a new haircut, and I said to him that you looks really cool. Your hair is really nice, you know, something like that. Or like, because Makassar people loves to be massaged, sometimes I massage them, you know, in the head, and it's not gay at all for them. That's weird.
So that's
Yeah.
physical touch and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and they also loves their bones cracked. You know, sometimes I crack their bones, and that is something. That is what I consider love in context where I live.
Okay, so now let's talk about love versus logic, because there's this society norm that somehow love is illogical, that love is irrational, or that love, heart and brain are 2 different things, right? So Allegra, I wanna go to you first. What do you think about love being irrational? Is that true, or is it actually the same thing in the same boat? What do you think?
Thank you for the question. I think that's a really good one because in science and also in the perspective of biopsychosocial perspectives, there is this thing called lust, attraction, and also attachment. So lust is more like our animalistic nature, I guess. It's what drives you to procreate, for example, because this is the lust is mostly driven by testosterone and also estrogen, the hormones that are regulating our bodily system and also our reproductive system in general. And the second one will be the attraction that was regulated by dopamine, norepinephrine, and also serotonin. Dopamine is the hormone that provides the reward experience. It's almost same like an addiction in some sense because it made you feel good, dopamine. And also norepinephrine made you feel excited. Serotonin also made you feel happy. And also there is this hormone called attachment. There's this term called attachment, and the hormones, the main hormones were oxytocin and also vasopressin. If you're familiar with the term oxytocin, people usually describe that as the hormone of love because it's almost like a parental and child attachment. It's almost like your relationship with your mother, for example, and that's the predicament for long-term relationships as well. And sometimes love in a lot of medias and also history is described as this double-edged sword. It can give you positive impact, but sometimes people thought of it as the thing that can make you do irrational things. Because I think if you do experience love in a more balanced way, you should have a lust, attraction to that person, and also some sort of healthy attachment. So it is a reciprocal and also balanced relationship. But sometimes love can be hurtful for some because sometimes it can be accompanied by jealousy as well, erratic behavior. Sometimes it can come as irrational as well. And also other less positive emotions and moods. And this in biology, it can come from the perspectives of these hormones. For example, if we have too much dopamine and also oxytocin, it can be related to irrational behaviors, adultery, jealousy, and also other compulsive behaviors as well. like binge eating and also drug abuse. But if we have a more balanced ideal presentation of dopamine, oxytocin, it can come up in a more healthy way in lust, attraction, and also healthy attachments as well. So I agree, sometimes it can be a double-edged sword for some, but at the end of the day, is the most important thing is to promote healthy love and also belonging.
So it's not love, it's hormone.
Yeah.
It's irrational. If you're being irrational, that's your hormone talking. Okay.
Okay.
So, Khozy, what do you think about? How would you say if somebody say that love is irrational? In your experience, would that be the case, or is it possible to have a healthy relationship and healthy love without being irrational or being illogical?
It could be irrational though, but mostly if it's related with the sexual attraction, mostly I think, isn't it? Like most people like do stupid things related to that, you know, that how do I say it? Yeah, I don't know. It's something about it. Like the sexual attraction that controls our mind to do something stupid, like for example, in a dating app, you know, like when you got so, you know, your sexual your libido is getting high, you know, and sometimes you do stupid things, like when the people that you're chatting with on dating app like ask for like naked pictures, sometimes you do it, you know, and yeah, it could be irrational, you know. Yeah, but mostly mostly related to the sexual
irrational
attraction.
comes.
Yeah.
The irrational decision comes with the sexual attraction, not with the attachment or what Dr. Allegra has explained.
And also logic. Because there are three main sections in our brain that determines love. Is the prefrontal cortex, also our emotion responses in hypothalamus, and of those areas that regulates emotions. If we are hijacked by those hormones like dopamine, oxytocin, it's overloading. Sometimes it can influence how we make constructive decisions. So that's why sometimes people can do rational things.
It could get so ugly because, for example, if I can tell you a story, like there is a friend of mine. He met a really cute guy on a dating app, like really cute, like really hot. And one day, this man is somehow like manipulate him, you know, like ask him to do something stupid, like unprotected sex. But my friend's like still doing it because this man is really cute and hot, you know. I think that's the example, you know, how can love can be so rational and logical. It could get so ugly.
Yeah. So I agree, and I would just like to remind the audience that we have interesting and wonderful prizes for questions and comments. So please do submit your comment or questions in the chat box or in the Q&A section. And while we are on that, we actually already have one question in the Q&A from Les Wirawan from the British Council. For any of the speakers who is comfortable sharing, could you share your experience, so I guess this is personal, your experience in unlearning or unpacking the correlation between gender role and your expressions of love? Who wants to go first?
Allegra, perhaps?
This kind of question is maybe a bit different for me because I think my background as a transgender woman, and I've never dated any gay man in my life. I started dating around 2017. That's after I transitioned, and I felt like I'm more comfortable dating what happens to be cis heterosexual men, and because they see me as a woman. But I do realize that there is this certain sometimes imbalance in the relationship. For example, if the guy is not doesn't work on his own biases against gender minorities, for example, because he lives as a cisgender heterosexual man, where sometimes came from privileged racial background, for example, and mine, I am a triple minority, I guess, in Indonesia, by religion, by race, by tribe, ethnicity as well, and also by my gender identity. So for to be in relationship with, I guess it's like unpacking the biases that we had. So to make sure that the relationship was built on the equal basis, and not not the other person is upholding his patriarchal cis heteronormative values, while I think I need a little bit support here as a minority as well to come up with a more equal stance. I think that's a huge process for me to understand that, because I do realize that just because someone wants to date another person who happens to be transgender doesn't mean that they're not transphobic. And also, just because they want to date another person who came from a different race or different country origin doesn't mean that they're not racist. So that's one of the, I think, the great profound discoveries as well, because sometimes they can have lots of biases, and dating someone doesn't really change that, because sometimes dating is not an equal footage for a lot of people, because sometimes the women came in a less disadvantaged situation, and I think it's really important to unpack that. And also everyone, regardless of your background, regardless of your orientation, gender, should be able to feel love, because everyone deserves to be loved. I think that's a very basic, fundamental thing.
Yeah. Khozy, how did you unpack it, or how did you recognize the correlation between the gender stereotype and expression of love?
Sorry, I don't really understand the question though. The correlation of the general and love.
Like, for instance, if a guy is expected to be macho and not to be expressive in love, and I get from your answers that you don't really relate to that. So you have your own way of expressing love, right? But how did you come to realize that you are not part of that stereotype, that you're not part of the what society thinks that a guy should do to express love? How did you unpack it, or how did you recognize it?
Okay. Actually, even the gay community itself, somehow they don't want people who are not manly. I mean, they don't really favor men who are not manly, you know. So that's why it's kind of hard for gay people to like to be loved, either in the hetero community and as well for the queer community, because the discriminations are everywhere. Even the queer community,
even within the community.
Yeah, you know, they discriminate to each other. So that's why it's very hard for certain gay who, especially if they're like feminine, you know, it's really hard for them to be loved, because they don't really be accepted in every communities. That's sad. So they ended up mostly, and they mostly ended up being so alone and just be quiet, you know. And sometimes they have to like gradually lose themselves and be macho, or you know what I mean, like, yeah, to be accepted by the community and be loved. That's sad. Yeah.
Yeah. So even though it's a non-hetero community, non-heteronormative community, doesn't mean that the norm that is accepted is inclusive, right? It doesn't go hand in hand.
I think it's also in line with what Zhao said earlier before, that sometimes the queer community try to look as heteronormative, cis heteronormative as possible, masculine only. Or even me, sometimes, for example, I'm very open to date like a transgender man, for example. But sometimes some transgender men didn't think of me as woman enough, or any other trans women that doesn't think that trans men are men enough because they don't have penis, for example. I think that's, I think at the end of the day, it came down to that person. But once you tap into like a more progressive understanding, I think there should be more options of who you love.
I mean, it's strongly rooted from the patriarchal value that we got since we were a little kid. That's why it affects the gay community itself. That's why they really anti to this feminine value, like they're really like glorifying the manly stuff, that you have to be manly if you want to be considered hot and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So before we close this, we have one question from the audience, from Menina Putri Wismurti. Thank you, Hao, Khozy, and Ale for sharing your insight. So I have a question for the filmmaker. Khozy, I'm curious, what were the hardest challenges you faced in making Lika Liku Laki? And what was the best response you received so far from international and local audience? So I guess one, challenges, two, best responses. Challenges first, what was that?
Okay, first, the making of the film were actually really hard, because all of the crew and cast doesn't really know what I'm doing. I mean, what I'm making, what story is this? They were like that, like, what are you trying to tell, Khozy, and stuff like that. Because sadly, because the like many people in Makassar doesn't really know about this term, like a toxic masculinity, like homophobia and transphobia. They don't know anything about that. So in the first day of rehearsal, pre-production, when we rehearsed the love scene, there was a love scene in the film. People were judging the main actor and the other actor who's doing the scene. They making fun because they consider it as a gay stuff, and the other actor went really mad. Like he smashed the door and punched the walls. It went very brutal. So I was so shocked, and that was the moment I think I need to do something about this. Like, and then I gather around my cast and crew, and I tell them, this is not right. I think it's better for us to like create safe place to everyone. So I give them workshop, and I give them explanation about all of these terms to them, the homophobia, and how it can really harmful to everyone, and being misogynistic, what is misogynistic thing, I explained that to them, and I was so happy because they were so listening, and then after we did the workshop, it went really good, there is no like judgy things when we do the rehearsing, it went really good. And then when they actually watch the film, these actors, so little trivia, none of these actors are professional actors, so basically they playing themselves, like they spreading they saying the homophobia words. That's original from them. So, and then when they watch the film, so we organized like a private screening. They watch them, and they like starting. I'm so amazed because they started to like open about this. They open to discuss about these things and how the toxic masculinity can be very harmful to every single people on earth. Not that's what they get, and it's so beautiful. They want to learn about this stuff.
Wow, that's very
Yeah.
interesting, because I saw the film and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have expected that they actually, the words are unscripted, like what they say about all those
Yeah.
homophobia comments. For
Yeah.
those of you who haven't watched it, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Where is it available, Quasi?
Yes,
I-
I would love to.
So there is this actually screening in Jakarta, and 26 March, I guess. Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Yeah,
this week.
I think you can watch it online though.
I'll
Yeah.
ask again for the link from Kurnia, my friend at 100%.
Yeah. You can. Yeah,
So-
you can actually watch it from the Vimeo link if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's so audiences, if you're interested in watch, there's a Vimeo link. Ask friends from 100% Manusia to give you that link. And there's going to be a 26th of March screening, correct, Khozy? So watch out on that one. Okay. One last question from the audience. Hi, Ale. Hi, Khozy. If you don't mind me asking, what was the craziest thing you have done for love to your partner? And what was the craziest thing you have done for love of yourself? So I guess, what have you done for somebody that is important to you, which is your partner? And what's the craziest thing you have done for love? And what's the craziest thing you have done for yourself?
Okay.
Allegra?
Khozy wants to start first.
No, you first.
I think there are lots of things crazy, irrational things that I did in the past, because back when I started transitioning and also started dating, I felt like, because of my family dynamics as well, it is not very healthy. And when I transitioned, and also I experienced some sort of discrimination from the environment at that time, which was my educational environment. And there's this hole within my heart that I felt like I need others to fill that in. So I started dating several people through the course of 1 or 1.5 years. It is more like, now I realize it is more like me searching for myself through the reflection of others. And I think that's, I don't want to say that it's a mistake, but it's definitely, if I can redo it back, I definitely should build a healthier relationship with myself first before I started dating. But I also realized that I've met wonderful people along the way that really helped me to be more comfortable. And also I've got respectful and supportive friends and colleagues along the way that really helped me. And life changes, because I do believe that there is always hope for the better future. But I've had several experiences in which I met several men who were narcissistic, and also some sort of abusive in one way, or they're emotionally unavailable. And with one, I had this one really bad experience, in which maybe I'll share more one day. But that experience made me realize that I need to stop this cycle. And I realized that I was born into some sort of abusive and narcissistic family environment. That's why it's for some people, the survivors sometimes tend to recreate that scenario again in their own personal relationship and dating life. And I felt very lucky right now. I'm able to realize that and also heal from those experiences, and also try to build a better version of myself through those experiences. I think it's not a really good experience, but now I realize that if I have to redo that again in order to break the cycle, I would.
Yeah, sometimes we create the type of attachment that we first see in our lives.
Yes.
So true. And that's a lot of unpacking to do to realize that we deserve a better relationship with our significant others. Totally agree. Khozy, how would you answer that question? Do you prefer to answer or do you prefer not to? Please feel free. Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've done to love?
Probably this is like the very first time I tell the story. So yeah, I think it was like I was in college like 2015, I guess. So I was a little bit, not little bit, like I'm thinner, like probably like 55 kilograms. It was so stupid though. So I desperately wanted to be accepted by this bear community, you know, bear, like yeah, a plus size gay man, you know, and yeah, bear.
Oh
and,
wow, that's new to me. Okay.
Yeah. So that moment, I gained a lot of weight. Not a lot, like maybe like 10 kilograms, just to be accepted by this bear community. So the regulation is that if you want to be accepted, you have to be considered bear or chubby, you know. And then so I asked them to be like I want to be one of those people, you know. I want to join, but one of the members said that you're not chubby enough, you know, you're not bear and stuff like that. So there was a moment that I excessively ate a lot of junk food, like many food. Like I ate like 5 times a day, and all of them are like fast food, you know, like fried chicken and soda and burger. And I gained a lot of weight like very instantly. Like I went from 55 kilograms to 90 kilograms just for 3 months in order to be accepted by the community.
Wow.
And then I got so sick, and I got so sick. I felt something in my bowel, and I went to doctor. So there was like a inflammation in the intestines, you know, and I have to go. I have to went operation because of that. So yeah, so I was struggling I was struggling about my body as well before I went to this community, you know. I used to love my body, but when I met this community, I turned out really hateful towards my body back then, you know. So I gained so much weight because of that, just simply to be accepted by them. It's I know it's stupid though. Yeah.
We do stupid things for love sometimes.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, if you see,
thank you for sharing that, Khozy.
I mean, if you see their pictures, like they look so lovable. Like when you look the pictures, like they were hugging to each other, looks so loving, you know. And I was like, I want that. I want all of that. You know, I want to be loved like they are, you know. So, you know,
physical
what I mean?
touch.
Yeah, physical touch. Yeah.
Love language.
Yes.
Okay, I'm being aware there that we're out of time. We're running out of time. but I want to be very mindful that we also want to answer as many questions as possible. So one last question before we close from the audience. My question for Khozy and Allegra, how long do you think it will take? Oh my God, this is a difficult question. How long do you think it will take until Indonesia can fully accept the queer community, since film screenings about queer films are still banned a lot here? Who wants to go first?
I'll start. I think this is a suitable question for closing. So for how long, we don't know, because I think at the end of the day, it's a process, but I do believe that now I'm seeing the younger generations are much more liberated. And with the social media as well, they can share a lot of information online, not only for the queer community, but also the whole young population in general, in their adolescent years, in their 20-something, 30-something early, and they recognize more diversity, even in those who were in the leadership position in their 40s and also 50s. And during these productive years, I think it's very important to support young people. And also, I do believe that through movies and storytelling, we can change people's minds and perspectives, because it's like a more subtle approach compared to having a punitive law. We should be able to have more conversations and also more concrete steps to make sure that we're all treated equally. So there will be more educated queer people who can be in a change position to advocate for a better future. I think that's my take.
Khozy, what's your take?
I think it depends on us, so I always think that there are always two sides, like the conservative and also the progressive one. Like if one of the sides is silent, you're going to lose, That's what I meant. If we like always talk about our issues that we concern, consistently, we're going there. That's what I believe. So I would say, it's depend on us.
It's the good fight, Khozy.
Yeah, it's a cold war.
It's a
somehow.
long, it's a long good
Yeah.
fight. You just need to be persistent and hanging in there.
But I do believe that
Okay.
now what we are doing now could be more very impactful for the future generations, because I'm seeing that as well. Now I've seen parents brought up their children asking about their children who are transgender. So there are more parents who are accepting, and also some of the adolescent kids came out as well from the queer community in general. I think that's a good positive impact, I guess, positive influence compared to the stigma that were being attached to the queer community in general.
And every little thing matters, right? Because it accumulates as well. It brings attention, and it also builds up the knowledge base in the community. So whatever we do does make a difference. That is true, and what we represent the community, such as your movie, Khozy. Thank you so much for doing it. Okay, so as a closing statement, what message would you like to impart to people out there looking for love, especially to the queer community? Khozy?
Always think probably I'm going to say you first, think about yourself. That's important. Yeah. Because that is matter. That is essential, the most essential thing. Think about yourself first. Yeah.
Love yourself first. I agree.
Yes.
Allegra,
I agree with that.
Message?
Love yourself first before you love another. But at the same time, we do recognize that everyone has a different journey in life. And alongside those process, maybe Buddha said this, like the biggest question that you have is who you are as a person and what do you want to do. And I think we're trying to answer those questions every day through our roles. But at the same time, while we do this life process and life journey, it is good to be able to hug and love someone. And I think that's very important during the process
Agree.
of life.
That's very important. Everybody has their own timeline, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Your timeline doesn't have to follow.
Kamala Harris,
other
50
people.
years old, married.
Exactly. Everybody has their own timeline. Thank you so much, Khozy. Thank you so much, Allegra.
Thank
This has been a
you.
very wonderful, warm, intimate talk. I hope you feel the same way. I felt like the time went so fast the last, I don't know, almost 2 hours, right? I think we almost hit 2 hours. So thank you so much for being so open, and thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And Khozy, wish you well on the movie, and hopefully the message goes through to the community. Thank you so much for doing the movie. Allegra, thank you so much for being you, and keep doing the good work that we all are doing. And thank you for being here. Okay, thank you, audience. And I would like to remind everybody that the 5 Films for Freedom campaign is still ongoing, and the 5 films will still be available to watch online until Sunday, March 27th, 2022. And there will also be an Instagram live session with Hao Zhou. So for those of you who still have some questions for Zhou, the Instagram live is on Sunday at 1 p.m. For further information, please check out 100% Manusia Film Festival's social media account. Thank you so much for those of you who have commented. I see Erika Chong. I'm going to read your comments. Thank you to the Indonesian British Council team and interpreter for putting this event together. And thank you to the moderator and speakers for your openness and willingness in sharing your lived experiences. I'm hopeful that we will continue to have these conversations to live and learn from each other. Okay, so thank you so much. I am Sophia Hage, your moderator for tonight. Signing off. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and please don't forget to watch 5 Films for Freedom 2022. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Migration, open up.
我在搜寻哪点？哪点？我在哪点？
Kamera, rolling.
Welcome to the 5th edition of 100% Manusia Film Festival. I'm Farid Ardian, and I will be your host today.
Usia kelima kami merupakan usia yang muda, tetapi untuk sebuah festival film, 5 tahun merupakan titik pencapaian yang signifikan. Karena itu, kami ingin menandainya dengan tema journey atau perjalanan.
Halo, saya Lika Liku Laki, saya seorang penulis naskah dan sutradara film Indonesia. Saya berharap dengan ditayangkannya film-film ini, terciptalah conversation di publik mengenai hal-hal yang sangat esensial ini dan semoga bisa menciptakan perubahan